Overland Park, Kansas. John Legere, current president and CEO of T-Mobile, will serve as the new CEO, and Mike Sievert, current chief operating officer for T-Mobile, will be the president and chief operating officer of the combined company. Current Sprint CEO Marcelo Clare will serve on the board of the new company. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports police in New Orleans have obtained an arrest warrant for a fourth suspect wanted in connection with a gang rape investigation following the arrest of 3 U.S. Marines charged in the case. 2 women, a Tulane student and her friend, reported that they were raped by 4 men earlier this month at an off-campus home in New Orleans after a night out. The 2 women left a bar with 1 man and went to the house on April 15th. Once there, the man, identified by police as Antonio Landrum, invited 3 other men to the residence. The women claim all 4 men sexually assaulted them. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, badly shaken researchers reported observing an osprey stalking, killing, and devouring an adult male lion in what is being called a massive food chain shakeup. Confirmation of the 3-pound marine bird consuming the 400-pound feline has biologists scrambling to determine the new predator-prey connections between the planet's billions of organisms.
We seem to be experiencing some sort of cross-species dietary free-for-all.
Scientists say that the killing of the healthy, full-grown lion by a typical osprey specimen has lent credibility to recent reports of a deer seen grazing on a nest of squirrels in Wisconsin, as well as a claim made by a group of Japanese fishermen who say they witnessed 300 million krill devouring a 40-ton humpback whale. In other news, NASA acquires the moon for an upcoming Kennedy Space Center exhibit. A radio DJ invites the whole town to some bullshit, and assuming the many universes theory of quantum mechanics is accurate, the review you've just seen will remain relevant in another reality for all eternity. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. If you want, the number for you to take control of the airwaves is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. And the Skype username here is lrn.fm. Plus, you can join us on the Discord on-air call-in line room, which sounds almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us in a lot of cases. Just go to discord.lrn.fm, and you can hop in there whenever you get all registered and signed up for that, which is completely free. Joining you here tonight, it's Ian,
Melanie,
and Mark.
We're going to talk about so-called toxic masculinity.
They quit specifying now. They quit pretending they were specifying. They're just admitting that they hate all masculinity now.
Okay, so apparently there's a university out there that is just telling males, hey, if you're being masculine, you need to check in for some help, is the idea.
I'd like to know what masculinity is.
Well, maybe we'll get into that, but also over at Vox.com, there's a story about something that I had not heard of until this weekend called Incel, I-N-C-E-L.
I had heard the word.
Did you know what it was?
Not until you told me moments ago.
Okay.
At which point we all cracked up.
It sounds like a really covert, like CIA operation.
It does, like a cell, right? Like a terrorist cell or something like that. In fact, that's what Vox is going to try to have you, believe here, is that this is some sort of a terrorist movement, because Alec Minassian, who is the man who killed Minassian. Minassian. Yep. The man who killed 10 people by driving a van down a busy street in Toronto. I believe he ran up on the curb, if I recall the story correctly. Yep. But they're saying he's a terrorist. We know this, says Vox, because he told us so. On Tuesday afternoon, Facebook confirmed the authenticity of a post in his name in which he pledged allegiance to something called the Incel Rebellion. Now, this is not an organized militant group, but rather an ideal developed by the so-called Incel movement.
Okay.
An online community of men united by their inability to convince women to have sex with them.
It's funny until you get run over by one.
Now, what I want to know is from those out there, because we have encountered something that sounds kind of similar, at least on its face, about this, or to this, the MGTOW. Remember that one?
Yeah,
Men going their own way. So,
which I like the sound of. I
this
mean,
sounds
that's
more
very much more empowering than I can't get laid.
Yeah, MGTOW at least is like, well, I can't win at this game, whether that's my fault, whether that's somebody else's fault. Peace. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like. But
I don't know if the MGTOW has
silly.
I don't know if there's a violent component to MGTOW. It sounds like, in that case, men just focusing on themselves. This sounds more like some really butthurt guys who are angry. Incel stands for involuntarily celibate, and I don't know if you can combine those two words together. Isn't celibacy normally a choice? Like it's
celibacy is
it's a state,
the act or inaction of not having sex. Yeah.
All right. I always associated it with like monks or whatever. In fact, definition number one is abstaining. Definition number one here, Mark, is abstaining from marriage and sexual relations. So celibacy is a choice. These are people who want to have sex but are not able to for whatever reason.
Correct.
That's different than abstaining. And abstention is something that you choose to do.
Fine. You said definition number one, and usually definition number one is the best definition. I'm sure there are other definitions on down the line. And I think by saying involuntarily celibate, they are using two words that the average person understands, and they are creating a new term.
I don't know that people who are involuntarily celibate have a real good finger on what society understands and wants.
I like it. I'm down.
Some self-identified incels, as they call themselves, have developed an elaborate socio-political explanation for their sexual failures, one that centers on the idea that women are shallow, vicious, and only attracted to hyper-muscular men.
Okay.
They see this as a profound injustice against men like them who suffer an inherent genetic disadvantage through no fault of their own.
Are they leftist or not?
I'm not sure about that. We'll get deeper into this here in a moment, but I know that we read
decide.
a story recently on the air.
You're pretty lame when it comes to the whole body muscular thing. I mean, I've
had girlfriends.
You've had girlfriends in life. I mean, you don't now, right? Like, is that involuntary? No. I mean, would you call that involuntary?
I don't even understand how that even would factor
I'm just trying to see
here.
whether or not you're one of these incel people and you don't even know it.
No, I'm definitely not upset or anything about that. But anyway, what I was going to say was we had a survey, and I don't know if it was last Monday or whenever it was we did it, but the survey was of American women. It was like 1,000 American women, and it was asking them what are they looking for in a man. And presuming they're being honest, there was a small portion that wanted to see a man with a six-pack of abs, but a very small portion.
Comparative to people that want somebody who's approachable and funny.
Yeah. Or successful, confident, wealthy, those.
Successful didn't even seem that high on the list comparative to.
Good sense of humor was up there.
They really just want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Want you to pay attention to them. I mean, who doesn't want people to pay attention to them?
Right.
I'm not saying it's that somebody remains really interesting after 3 or 6 months or maybe 50 years. I don't care. I mean, ultimately, you have to sort of be comfortable with yourself in your own skin, and wanting somebody to pay attention to you isn't necessarily indicative of that. But besides that, what women answered that they want somebody who pays attention and attempts to be funny and isn't all caught up in themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was really quite simple. They would like you to have a job. But it wasn't even at the top of the list.
So the incel people see this as a profound injustice against men like them who suffer an inherent genetic disadvantage through no fault of their own. A small radical.
My initial thought on this is if you say that no women want you, so you're involuntarily celibate. I suspect what you mean is the women you want.
Yeah, this sounds a lot like sixes being mad they can't have tens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sixes probably is generous. I mean, if there are tens, then there are ones, right? Now, and I don't know how to rate people. I mean, are we talking about is it all ages get into the same rating? Does one click down the line, or are you a 10 for your age? I don't know.
I think for practical purposes, you'd group the ages of people who would be dating each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for
I've
practical...
never thought about it that much.
Indeed. There's as one shouldn't. But I mean, you know, I can see why these guys are frustrated. It's frustrating to not be able to get the mate that you want to get. But let's not forget that somebody out there is waiting in the wings for your attention right now. Somebody wishes that you would pay attention to them, and that somebody is probably, of the gender you're looking for. So what you're saying is that the people who want your attention are just not acceptable. That's completely different than being involuntarily celibate. That's an issue of taste and preference and all kinds of things. Yeah. Not worth killing anyone over, I can assure you.
A small radical fringe, according to Vox, believes that violence, especially against women, is an appropriate response and that a, quote, incel rebellion or, quote, beta male uprising will eventually overturn the sexual status quo.
Yeah, that just sounds like rape with extra steps.
I'm curious as to how that would happen, but okay.
Yeah, I don't think violence is going to solve any of these problems.
No, people are generally not attracted to people that they're frightened
right. That's not sexy for most people.
Yeah. Newsflash.
There are some people out there that apparently have rape fantasies.
Even those people, I think that you're supposed to like establish an existing relationship and then have consensual violence, not just like randomly get violently attacked. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
The vast majority of women who have rape fantasies don't actually want to be raped.
That's correct.
Right? It's just this sort of fantasy thing that
it's something about not being in control or whatever.
Yeah, something entirely different.
Menation, this is the murderer, the guy that ran people down, is not the first to turn these violent fantasies into reality. In 2014, a sexually frustrated man named Elliot Rodger killed 6 and wounded 14 in a shooting spree in Santa Barbara, California. He justified his actions in a lengthy and creepy manifesto sent to acquaintances and then widely shared online as retaliation against women as a group for refusing to provide him with the sex he was owed. I vaguely recall that story.
Yeah, this was the guy with the expensive car who's like mad that he couldn't get the women he wanted. I remember watching MTV with Dennis Rodman, and they had like one of the VJs out there with Dennis Rodman. They were trying to pick up chicks and get them to go in this particular sort of love bus that they had, and none of the women wanted to go in. To Dennis Rodman's van. They weren't going to do it on camera. I don't know if they would have done it off camera.
There's more on the way here. 855, 450, free like freedom. You want to comment on the incel so-called rebellion? It's Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition. The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Mother's Day sneaks up and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly like green onions. That tells Mom you don't care enough to send flowers from the Books. That's short for bouquet, and they're booking awesome. Books flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Books farms and delivered straight to your mom, so they last weeks, not days. Books even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Books cuts out the middleman, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan designed flowers from the Books. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter code FTL. That's BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. That's Books.com, BOUQS.com. And remember, code FTL saves an extra 15%.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Just dial in toll-free here. Our number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733, or Skype in at Skype username lrn.fm. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line room at discord.lrn.fm. Plus, Mother's Day is, well, pretty much right around the corner. We're less than 2 weeks away from it, I believe, at this point. And that means you need to be deciding what you want to do, and we recommend Books. In fact, we had some of the Books in here last night, did a bit of a detailed after show about it. So if you want to hear a lot about Books, tune into our podcast from last night, our archive from last night over at freetalklive.com. But it is Mother's Day coming up, and that means it's Books Day. It's short for bouquets, and these flowers are booking awesome. Moms don't want online sweatshop flowers that wilt in 2 days. Your mother deserves flowers from the Books. Books flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Books Farms and delivered straight to your mom, so they last weeks, not days. Books even has farms located on the side of a volcano, which means that they produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Books cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. You can show your mom how much you care by sending her artisan-designed flowers from the Books. Order today, and you can get 15% off when you enter code FTL. That's FTL like Free Talk Live over at BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. That's Books.com. Mark, did you bring the flowers home to Laura?
Yes, she put them in a vase right away and thinks they're great.
Very nice.
Yep, it's really nice arrangement, that's for sure.
Books.com with code FTL. We're talking about Incel, a group of gentlemen that will probably not be using Books, but they should because they still have mothers. Don't be so heartless as to not even send your mom some flowers. Incel being a group of men that call themselves involuntarily celibate.
I want to ask Melanie a question here. What do you think about the idea of sending a woman flowers whom you really who doesn't know who you are very well? Just like, I think you're pretty.
I would need more situational data than that, because there are situations in which that would be entirely appropriate, but if we're talking about just like randomly sending flowers to a woman you don't know, that's kind of creepy. If we're talking about like your coworker's mom or somebody died, and so you sent her like
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a romantic overture towards a person that you don't know very well.
Would the person, would the recipient, the female recipient, would she, when seeing your name on the card, recognize you? Like, oh, I know who this person is, or not know at all?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, that's why she's saying the situation.
Oh, yeah, so not knowing at all, that's totally creepy. If you just, like, send anonymous followers, don't do that, it's creepy.
Okay.
But, like, if she were to recognize you as somebody in her class at school or a coworker at work, what would that be? How do you answer that?
Yeah, like random guy in your class.
So, with the caveat of I didn't really hang out with people at school, so I would not have known them at all. See, not knowing someone very well can mean a lot of things.
Random guy from work, then. You've worked
Same
places.
Thing.
Yeah, but you work places.
They see you.
Right, I've worked. That doesn't mean I've hung out with people at work.
We're not talking about you hung out with this person.
Right, but so that means I don't know them at all. So, yeah, that can be creepy. So, see... Whether it's justified or unjustified, women are always afraid that you're going to kill them. So if you do things that indicate that you want a thing in a place where she can't necessarily protect herself, because in school you can't carry in most places, and at work there's weird restrictions, like just talk to them instead.
Okay. I would agree that talking to them is a good idea. I think that there are people who, think that, well, it's a good time to make this overture, and that this might be a way to make the overture. I'm not suggesting one do that with Books here, although I'm sure they'd be happy to take your money and send some flowers to whomever you'd like.
And you can make a message on the little card.
They're probably not going to ask, how well do you know this person? Let's do the immigration background check quiz on you to make sure you know them well enough. Like, I don't think companies are doing that.
I think it's kind of creepy, and I've got to say this. I did this in school. Okay, so
you sent flowers to somebody?
No, school being college or school being
high school. I think I was 15.
He went to prison after high school.
I wouldn't expect a 15-year-old to know those kind of subtleties.
Did it work?
No. I became very good friends with her and probably could get a hold of her if I had to.
So also known as no.
So it didn't work.
I lived at her house for a while.
Did you sleep with her?
No.
Okay.
So also known as no.
The answer is no.
If I apply to a job and they don't hire me, but I find out they have good products, then my resume failed.
Indeed. Indeed, that's the case. But I didn't. I suppose that if I had kept it up long enough and showed interest over a long enough period of time, a level of commitment, that perhaps that would have made a difference. I don't know the answer, but it was probably the fact that I was an atheist that was the issue.
Flowers ain't gonna fix that.
No.
So back to the story here from Vox. This is about the incelibate or involuntarily celibate people calling themselves incel, some calling themselves an incel rebellion or beta male uprising. The killer that ran down close to a dozen people, well, I guess he killed 10 and I think hurt like another 15 or so on top of that in Toronto recently. Apparently, he had been... Well, I guess he thought of Elliot Rodger as a hero. So Elliot Rodger is the guy who in 2014 killed 6 and wounded 14 in a shooting spree after justifying his actions in a manifesto because he was mad about women refusing to have sex with him, and he believed he was owed that. The man has become a hero to many incels. The Toronto perpetrator praised him as the, quote, supreme gentleman, unquote, which is a term the California shooter coined for himself in his Facebook posts. Only a tiny percentage
of... this is pretty creepy.
Yeah. Only a tiny percentage of incels seem willing to turn to violence or terrorism, and the movement isn't a threat on the level of an Al-Qaeda or ISIS. But it's a new kind of danger, a testament to the power of online communities to radicalize frustrated young men based on their most personal and painful grievances.
The first thing I thought of when I heard this was if they'd legalize prostitution...
This would help.
This would help.
Yes.
But I'm not sure that I believe that. For one, this guy's in Toronto, where prostitution...
It is semi-legal there.
Is, certainly less illegal than it is in the United States.
Right.
I couldn't claim anything about Los Angeles where this other guy was, but...
It's not legal in Los Angeles.
I can say that prostitution is more legal in Sarasota, Florida, where you and I are from, than it is here in New Hampshire.
Why?
Because in Florida, they have all kinds of massage studios and...
just because there isn't a massage parlor here
That's like
doesn't mean
saying weed is more legal based on how many dealers you knew. That's not...
Mark, you can have sex for money in New Hampshire as long as it's recorded on video and you have the intention to distribute it. It's legal.
Sure. I could go to a bar, proposition a woman, and say, hey, I have $200 if you'll have sex with me, as long as it's videotaped.
Yep.
Then, which makes it that much harder to proposition a woman for money.
That's true.
I suppose you could just put out ads and do interviews. It's probably a better idea than going to bars and, working on your alcoholism. I don't know. But I'm just saying that in Sarasota, Florida and Bradenton, Florida, you can drive down Tamiami Trail and you will have a whole variety of places you can pull into and get the job done relatively quickly.
There's also like 10 times the population in Sarasota County than there's here.
I'm not saying Sarasota's better than New Hampshire, you insane.
I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just telling you it's 10 times the population, so of course you're going to see more things like that.
Then there should be a tenth of those places here, and they're not.
Well, we don't even live in a big city here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. 855. There may not be enough business for it, Mark.
They would run them out of business in a heartbeat, and they've said so multiple times.
In-call things. Who's they? There's more coming up here.
The
It's
pigs.
Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. And with you here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
So let's see. We were talking about these incel folks, the involuntarily celibates, and we're going to get back into that coming up here in moments. But I also want to make sure you know about Liberty.menu. Whether you're selling sensual massage or whatever it is that is your business, you can go get listed over at Liberty.menu. It is a tool for liberty-minded folks, people who reject the initiation of force and agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. You can put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu and get as many listings as you need. So whatever different entrepreneurial activities you're involved in, whatever businesses you have, you can create entries at Liberty.menu and get your map points on their global map. It's not just for people in certain areas, it's for the entire world. Anybody who loves freedom is welcome to list their stuff over at Liberty.menu, their services, their products. If you're an events creator, if you're a digital content creator, there's categories for you as well. So go to Liberty.menu. It is free to use. It's free to list. It's free to search. You can use it. It's great. Liberty.menu. As we continue here, Mark making the argument, and very passionately, sounds like something you really cared about down in Florida. Mark, did you spend a lot of time in these sensual massage parlors?
I see that.
That's just mean, Ian.
Yeah.
He seems to know a lot about them.
No, what my concern is that you will hear anything that compares New Hampshire to anything, and here it is an insult, right?
No, it's not an insult. It's just you're making the claim that it is more legal to do prostitution in Florida than it is in New Hampshire, and you're basing that claim off the fact that there are apparently more of these what you call jack shacks, places that market themselves as a massage parlor of some sort.
I didn't call them that on the air, by the way.
Yeah.
I called them sensual massage studios.
Usually the word sensual in front of massage is the determining factor, right? And so you're saying there are more of them there than there are in New Hampshire. You're saying even per capita there are more than, so therefore prostitution's more legal. And I'm not going to deny that there are more of them there than there are here. I wouldn't deny that at all, but that doesn't mean that prostitution isn't happening or that prostitution's more legal in Florida.
Look, people tell me there's a heroin epidemic going on in Keene, New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I drive around Keene, New Hampshire.
You've never seen a discarded needle?
I haven't seen a discarded needle, and if I did, I probably wouldn't pay attention to it because sometimes there's garbage on the side of the road or the street. So because these things don't confront me in my day-to-day life, and prostitution does not, I don't think about these things.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't look into that particular area.
We might just have higher quality people in New Hampshire than in whatever city that was.
Well, it could be, but chances really are that the government would just run them out of business. If you wanted to open a sensual massage studio and bring in, some gals that would be willing to give sensual massages for money, which usually involves some kind of happy ending, from what I hear, the people that I've heard people admit to going to these places, and every one of them says, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what happens there," right? And whatever. I'm sure that they would have customers. You would be run out of business within 3 weeks. That's my bet.
All right, and you're saying that based on something you said off the air, which is that a former cop told you that.
That and also a zoning board member told me that. 2 zoning board members told me that in my town too.
All right, let's go to Shmee in New York, but that doesn't mean you wouldn't get arrested for prostitution in Florida, Mark. Go ahead, Shmee, you're on Free Talk Live.
I disagree with what Mark's saying about New Hampshire. I think he needs to chill out. He's been getting a little pissed off lately, and that's not good.
He does have a real problem with anger. There's definitely no doubt about that.
He has a really bad temper.
Maybe he needs to stop by one of those jack shacks.
Yeah, that'll help.
Take the edge off.
His face is all red. Look at his face. Looks like a tomato.
Yeah, I'm a drunkard. What do you want from me?
Yeah, doesn't look good with your haircut.
All right, Shmee, do you have anything else?
Nah, that's about it.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. So toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom.
What color hair does a red face go with?
We know somebody who was here in New Hampshire who was a professional prostitute.
Yes, I met her.
And she was an individual who marketed herself on then Craigslist. Now, of course, we know Craigslist has taken down their personal section entirely because they're afraid of the federal government and a new potential law that I don't know what the status of it is, but it was supposedly going to Trump's desk for a possible signature that would put some very severe restrictions on internet content on websites where users can generate content that might involve potentially offers for prostitution. And so, there's definitely prostitution going on, but yeah, it may be a little bit more underground. It may be that the market is too small to justify opening a physical location, or maybe you're right, in many of these New England towns, they would be never given the permit in the first place. Although here in Keene, they did have a porn shop. Maybe I should retract
the statement and say prostitution is more available where I'm from than New Hampshire.
At least that you're aware of.
Well, advertisement indicates availability, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know. As a person driving down the street, and that's all I've done in these two different places and lots of other places, I can read, signs, and I have a general idea when I look at these signs and these places that what's going on. So
either way, the incel folks, I do agree with your initial statement, Mark, that I think prostitution being legal should reduce some of this sexual frustration from these males who are claiming they just can't get laid and they're mad about it.
This guy was in Toronto, and supposedly it's pretty easy there to do prostitution.
In all of Canada.
We just interviewed a prostitute from Toronto not too long ago.
That's right, when we were at Anarchapulco. So back to the story here from Vox.com. The Facebook post, situates the attack as extremist and terrorist, says J.M. Berger, an expert at the International Center for Counterterrorism in The Hague. Quote, misogyny isn't new and ideological misogyny isn't new. Having a distinct movement that is primarily defined by misogyny is fairly novel, he says. Now, when we talk about incels, we're not talking about all men who aren't having sex. Instead, we're talking about a specific subculture of people in various internet forums, subreddits like r/braincells, the cruel troll chat forum 4chan, and dedicated websites like incels.me. Beyond their shared frustration with not having sex, the incel community is not monolithic. Many of them are simply sad and lonely men.
You can't stay in. The chances are that your life mate is not going to kick your door open and do you at your computer.
Odds are very slim of that happening.
So you got to get out and meet people, and if either work at something you're very interested in, and maybe the right guy will come along who's interested in the same thing, or find something that women tend to be interested in and do that thing. I don't know if it's yoga. I can tell you when I went to hot yoga classes in Sarasota, Florida, I was one of a couple few guys in there,
and the others were gay.
And the other two of the other four were, two of the four were gay, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just me and some other guy, right? Yeah. And I didn't go because of that, because that's creepy, mind you. You're going to have to prove yourself going to the yoga class. You can't just show up one time and suddenly they throw a sun salutation right on you, right? Okay. At some point or another, you got to be in the club. And then it starts making a difference.
Many of them are simply sad and lonely men suffering from extreme social anxiety or deep depression.
I hear that's everybody who's between the ages of 15 and 25 now.
Some of these moderate incels actively police the extremists in their midst. In a sympathetic 2015 profile, the Washington Post's Caitlin Dewey reported that some incel forums were set up to automatically delete any posts referring to the California shooter. But many incels have a much more sinister and specific worldview, one that the Southern Poverty Law Center sees as part of a dangerous trend toward male radicalization.
Yeah, but they think everything's obvious. It's like a non-statement.
Yeah, the Southern Poverty Law Center.
It's like saying among people who get groceries at grocery stores, like, okay, I mean,
basically, they've got a pretty tight criteria, and they really people they really sort of hate, and it has to do with men, libertarians, gun owners,
human beings, just whatever.
The toll-free number here, if you want to comment on incels, the involuntarily celibate people, some of whom are very, very angry and maybe lashing out with violence, like the man who mowed down a street full of people with a van recently in Toronto. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom if you want to join us on Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free, packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, and rats. If you've made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has 90 years of experience eliminating home invaders, and they make it easy for homeowners to be protected by offering a free pest estimate by calling 1-800-676-9879. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, rats, and other pests. This is your last chance. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will never stop working to keep you out with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Pests.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Pests, you've been warned. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate. 1-800-676-9879. 1-800-676-9879. 30-day money-back guarantee at participating locations. Limitations apply. See plan for details.
Free Talk Live.
Well, let's say that the Chinese troops decide to come over here because the local governments here have asked them to come here and help out with things, to controlling traffic and stuff like that. Would you be all right with that? If you were polled, would you say you're cool and great?
It would depend on, no, I wouldn't like it, but it would also depend on the situation. If I had a group of radicals, say Christians, going around, terrorizing and bombing and killing other religious sects because they didn't believe in what they believe in, and we needed help, I may at that point.
Now, what if
it's not like we have a group of people.
What if some of those Chinese troops by accident killed, say, your wife? How would you feel about those Chinese troops at that point?
I'm sure I'd have a whole different opinion.
Yeah, I bet you would.
That's an honest answer.
You are an awesome caller.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. Are you an incel? Somebody who is so-called involuntarily celibate. Apparently this is a thing on the internet, and the recent murderer in Toronto who ran down 24 people on a sidewalk, killing 10 of them, apparently identified as one of these incel, maybe one of the more violent incels, and maybe the violent ones are only a small portion of them, but Vox.com has the story. We're going to continue with that. With you in the studio, by the way, tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
As we continue here, don't forget you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. If you like Free Talk Live and what we do here, then please, you can back up the show for $5 a month with the AMP program and get cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the regular commercials our normal podcast does, and then also there's the AMP-only Facebook group, the AMP-only chat rooms on our Discord chat, and more. Go and get all the details. You can get signed up with credit card, with PayPal, and also Bitcoin Core over at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com as we go to Ruddy on the line in Bullhead, Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Ruddy.
Rudy.
Oh, Rudy. Hey there.
Yeah. Hey, couple things.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about there's a site called Men Going Their Own Way.
MGTOW.
The answer to that is We Hunted the Mammoth.
The what?
That is a fantastic. Yeah, We Hunted the Mammoth.
Okay.
And you go there, and there's actually there's a brand new article about Chris Cantwell on there.
So is this a MGTOW site, this We Hunted the Mammoth?
No, it is a opposite.
MGTOW. Okay.
It's look how ridiculous these guys are.
Okay.
It's fantastic. You got to go there. And a good. You didn't know the definition of incel. There's a site called Angry White Men, and it has the best dictionary of the alt-right I've ever seen, and it's really thorough.
Now, is everybody who's a MGTOW right-wing?
Yeah, definitely. They're anti-woman. Women, they don't need to vote. They don't even need a job. They need to make kids. That kind of,
But
it's the alt-right. It's the.
So they're claiming to be right-wing, but complaining about the lack of promiscuity in the population is very definitively left-wing.
Well, what Mark was saying about how they're not going to come to your door, I've got this theory, and it's just a theory. Granted, I'm pushing 70, but it seems like there's this whole generation, 15, 20 years of people that grew up on video games, and they didn't get out there and want to talk to that girl. And
I have the same theory.
Yeah, it's true. They don't have any interpersonal interactions. And they don't. You got to get out there and you got to stumble and fall and find out what works and get confidence, and that's how you get to be a social being. And I don't think they did that. I don't think they had. I don't know. They like to call women names, and that's not the way you're going to get somebody to like you.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're either going to get the attention of women with your, looks, or you're going to get it with your personality. In theory, you're going to get it with both. But, if you haven't spent any time developing a personality, and maybe you've got one, maybe we just don't know what it is because you don't spend any time showing your personality to other people. If you don't broadcast your personality in any way, shape, or form, don't expect it to draw people in.
Every man remembers the first time that they got up the guts to go up to that girl.
Indeed. Yep.
There was a life-changing thing. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was at a comic book store. I was 15 years old. This gal was 17. I asked her out, and she said yes.
How about that? Had you ever talked to her before?
I had talked to her, but I didn't know really what to talk to her about, and she didn't really talk back. Like, she would answer questions, but not much. So, like, she was shy. I mean, she's a girl who reads comics, for God's sake. She's pretty
a rare creature.
Very rare creature. In my world, this is the unicorn, right?
Yep.
But in her world, she's the bottom of the totem pole in her junior year of high school.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Really good advice. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. I don't know if I buy the idea that, maybe it's true. Again, I don't know anything about these communities. I just heard about MGTOW for the first time within the last 6 months, and this incel thing just this weekend. I think it was actually during Vincent's show, Questioning Authorities, when it came up on the weekend on LRN.FM. But it would seem to me that experience of kind of growing up on video games, always staying indoors, only doing these sort of insular things.
Because your parents are afraid that you're going to be abducted.
It would seem that would apply as much to lefties as it would righties. I mean, there must be a bunch of lefties who've also played video games and are also very, very, awkward.
Yeah,
with,
I have
with
no
females.
clue. His claim was that they were the alt-right, and I would not be able to make that claim one way or the other.
The left isn't necessarily demanding inconsistent things. So the left...
They're not?
Well, they are, but not in this area.
Okay.
So let's completely redact that previous statement. But so the left is not demanding a completely inconsistent woman. The left is not demanding, I want a traditional woman who sleeps around. That is a contradiction of terms, and that's kind of what these people are demanding. If they're claiming to be right-wing, they want somebody who's traditional, but also they just want to sleep around with traditional women. That doesn't make any sense.
They want something they can't possibly even have. Then.
They want something that can't exist by its own terms.
According to,
you could, if you want traditional women, you can go on dating sites or do the mail order, thing. Look,
right, but you can't randomly get laid, which is what they're complaining about not being able to do with.
I don't know what
they want. A steady supply of virgins, seemingly. That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe that's what you're hearing here. That's not what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is somebody who doesn't even understand how to begin a conversation with a woman. I mean, that's what you got to do, gentlemen. It's the talking parts that get the other parts where they want to go, okay? You got to have a conversation, and maybe you're not good at it. I know how you get good at it. You
Practice.
Start.
All right, so here's more about these incels. According to Vox.com, they post obsessively about so-called chads, meaning sexually successful, not hanging chads, but Chad the man.
Okay.
Sexually successful and attractive men. And they also post about Stacy's, attractive, promiscuous women who sleep with the chads. Both are positioned as unattainable. The chad is the masculine ideal. One that incel men cannot emulate for reasons of poor genetics, they say.
It's not poor genetics. I've got this to say also. So, there was a time in my life when I had a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
I was in prison, and a friend of mine was my roommate was a very good-looking guy who was really built, and he seemed like he was a Chad. There's no doubt about it. I had been in prison for 2 or 3 years at that point, and he said, "Why don't you come and work out with me?"
Yeah. And
I'm like, okay. And he showed me how to work out.
Right.
And I continued to do it.
And you put on muscle and
5, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know how long I did it, but I went from. I came into prison at 127 pounds. I was probably about 140, 145 at the time that he and I chatted. I maxed out at 192. And then when I went to work release, I lost a lot of weight because I was mowing lawns. I was ripped, mind you, but I'm out in the sun and those kind of things, and I went down to 178. And so, you can see the kind of weight that I put on, and that is something that is available to everybody who's crying into their keyboard right now. And it'll probably help take care of some of this anxiety and depression that you're talking about too. Exercise
is one of the things they recommend
helps
for depressed people.
Mild to moderate depression. It can really help this. Yes, if you have severe depression, medication may be your only hope, but exercise can't hurt.
Getting out there, for sure. Like you said, you can definitely improve
So it's
your
not
appearance.
genetics.
Yeah, so if your complaint is that someone is doing better than you in the marketplace of whatever it is you're looking for, then do better.
It's almost like they want to have success without having to compete.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
That's exactly what they want. They want a
exist.
busload of cheerleaders to kick their door in and drag them out of their house by their hair and drive them away in the school bus or whatever it is that they want.
And then are complaining then about the promiscuous woman when their complaint is, I can't get laid, but it annoys me that promiscuous women exist.
Right. They want one, but also they don't like them or something.
So maybe that's why you can't get laid, is because you hate people who might be willing to do that.
Right, and if you want a traditional woman who's going to have traditional values surrounding sexuality and monogamy, you need to go where traditional women go. And mind you, these are easy gals to meet if you have that mindset, right? Like churches are full of them.
Single women.
Single, attractive, value-based women. If that's what you want, that's where they're at.
but many of them may not let you have sex with them until a certain point.
They're going to need a high level of commitment.
All right, there's more coming up here. 855, 450, free like freedom. Are you one of the incels? And what's the difference between them and MGTOW?
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, April 30th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,313 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $40, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,296. Antiwar.com reports during Friday's summit, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un told South Korea's President Moon Jae-in that he is willing to totally abandon nuclear weapons in return for an end to the Korean War and a promise from the United States not to invade. North Korean officials have long said that their nuclear program was only necessary to deter a U.S. attack. Getting a formal pledge from the U.S. not to invade would achieve that goal, assuming it's a credible promise. North Korea appears to believe that they can get such a promise. New Secretary of State Mike Pompeo appeared optimistic as well. In comments on ABC's This Week, Pompeo said he believes there is a real opportunity for a denuclearization deal with North Korea. He added that conditions are right for such a deal. National Security Advisor John Bolton was less hopeful, saying that the U.S. must hold out for concrete evidence of denuclearization. Bolton had long supported attacking North Korea and has never favored diplomacy to achieve U.S. policy goals. Regardless of what cabinet members think, President Trump is the one that's going to be driving U.S. involvement in the peace process. Trump has been very clear in his support for a diplomatic process and the upcoming summit with Kim. Trump has defended the lead up to the summit in the face of growing media hostility towards diplomacy with North Korea. He has also rejected criticism that he's giving away too much, noting he hasn't actually given North Korea anything yet, and it does not intend to without North Korea scrapping its nuclear arsenal. Denuclearization for peace, after all, is exactly the grand bargain that the U.S. had sought with North Korea. The South Korean government has gone to great lengths to lay the groundwork for such a deal and very much wants a deal ending the Korean War. U.S. officials have expressed support for a peace deal, but have emphasized denuclearization as their top priority. Such a deal would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. After growing diplomatic progress, huge deals not only seem possible, but very practical. Everyone is unusually willing to make a deal, and summits are lining up at just the right time to make big things happen. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Sprint and T-Mobile, two of the top 4 wireless phone carriers in the United States, announced on Sunday they have agreed to an all-stock merger that values the new provider at $146 billion. Deutsche Telekom AG, the German-based company that controls T-Mobile, and SoftBank Group Corp, the Tokyo-headquartered majority owner of Sprint, agreed to combine forces, according to a press release. T-Mobile paid $26.5 billion in stock for Sprint, with the total value including debt. The U.S. company will be called T-Mobile. It will be headquartered in Bellevue, Washington, which is where T-Mobile is based, with a second headquarter at Sprint's office in Overland Park, Kansas. John Legere, current president and CEO of T-Mobile, will serve as the new CEO, and Mike Sievert, current chief operating officer for T-Mobile, will be the president and chief operating officer of the combined company. Current Sprint CEO Marcelo Clare will serve on the board of the new company. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports police in New Orleans have obtained an arrest warrant for a 4th suspect wanted in connection with a gang rape investigation following the arrest of 3 U.S. Marines charged in the case. 2 women, a Tulane student and her friend, reported that they were raped by 4 men earlier this month at an off-campus home in New Orleans after a night out. The 2 women left a bar with 1 man and went to the house on April 15th. Once there, the man, identified by police as Antonio Landrum, invited 3 other men to the residence. The women claim all 4 men sexually assaulted them. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Here is the Onion Weekend Review Transportation Edition. In Albany, a Greyhound bus crash claimed 30 miserable lives Tuesday, finally putting over 24 deadbeat fathers, penniless drug addicts, and hapless bastards out of their misery. Emergency crews at the scene of the merciful accident described the sea of fast food bags, candy bar wrappers, and losing lottery tickets surrounding the crash site as utterly tragic, adding that the scorched corpses inside the bus were, quote, only slightly more lifeless than before the deadly accident.
Evidence suggests that most of the victims suffered during the crash, and for many years before they even boarded the bus. All I can say is, thank God no one made it.
Al-Qaeda is refusing to carry out any further terrorist attacks until the U.S. mass transportation infrastructure is drastically improved, calling the country's roads and bridges a, quote, travesty, unbecoming of a developed first world nation.
We want to turn your bridges into rubble. But if we took credit for making them collapse, no one would ever believe us.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We are talking about the thing that makes the world go around. That is to say, humans having sex and continuing to reproduce. I guess that doesn't have anything to do with the world turning.
No, that's gravity.
But either way, it's very important to the future of the species. And there are some people who just feel like they can't get any, and they're mad about it.
We used to send them off to war. They just got shot.
They've formed an online community, or multiple online communities. This one's called Incel. It apparently stands for involuntarily celibate. People who, men who would like to have sex, but believe that they have no chance because of their genetics. Mark, as you pointed out, that when you were in prison, when you were in for like 9 years, you started out very skinny, like me, and you worked out every day after a few years and got ripped. It
wasn't every day, but yeah, often enough.
But yeah, I mean, you could if you wanted to.
I had a 5-day-a-week system for working out, and I worked out in some cases as long as an hour and a half per day.
And it worked.
And some people who have full-time jobs or at least 40-hour-a-week jobs do that too. This is not like some unattainable, it's not like changing the color of your eyes where you just can't no matter what.
Yeah, Daryl goes every single day to the, it seems like almost every single day he goes out.
Daryl's in incredible condition, and he did change his diet, but now he basically can eat anything he wants to eat if he chooses to. He's still more careful than he was previously because he had changed his diet, and now he's kind of relaxed that changing.
One thing's for sure, complaining on the internet is not going to make you a more attractive mate. Whether
sitting in a chair typing is not burning enough calories to give you whatever it is that you're looking for.
Yeah, and even if you don't change anything else, just openly complaining about your lack of being able to get laid kind of signals that you have low market value, which is not the same thing as low value.
Right.
So it's like going around complaining about you can't get hired. That's not going to make companies want to hire you. It's going to make them wonder what's wrong with you.
I can tell you that men do not understand this. A lot of men do not understand this, Melanie, that for whatever reason, and I don't understand, why would it matter if other women want me as to whether or not you would want me? And I'm not talking you. I'm talking about you as representing
as a species,
woman. Yes.
It's a really poor market signal.
I would think that it is. I mean, it's like saying, hey, clearance sale, last one left, broken the dented and damaged section, right, is what it says.
Well, I mean, companies sell products like this. They create artificial shortages. Or I guess it's not artificial technically in an economic sense, but they create shortages so that people want the thing, and then 2 months later in January, they're suddenly magically on the shelves and everybody buys one. I was talking to somebody earlier today about overbooking on purpose, which is asinine, to make yourself look more valuable.
Overbooking flights or?
Well, not flights, but whatever service.
I see.
So it is a rudimentary valuation signal, but especially if you're talking about the half of the population, that it tends to be less logical and less rational and maybe thinks things through instead of feeling them through. It is a kind of crude pricing signal.
I would say that it's a pricing signal, and that it's
what signal?
Pricing.
I know, but which
value signal? So Melanie's saying that women are not held to the same logical standards that men are, and I have to agree that some are not, and that telling them that for whatever reason no other women want me is not a good way to get their attention.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I don't know why.
Even to me, that would be a red flag. It wouldn't be a conclusion because any single data point. Well, some single data points would be, but most single data points do not equal a conclusion.
They shouldn't.
But that's definitely a red flag.
So more from Vox.com.
And if you have availability, there's plenty of availability out there, and women tend to have plenty of availability as far as their pick.
Especially the attractive ones, right?
Well, I guess that's what these guys are complaining about.
The young hot ones, which is presumably who these guys want.
Presumably.
My claim is that any woman who is wants to have sex can do it.
Oh yeah.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, people just walk up to you at the gas station and ask you. Like, you don't have to even look for it.
Right. I mean, if you and I started on this street out here and we knocked on 5 doors each and we suggested, hey, want to have sex, you would be inside making the monster with 2 backs and I would be in jail. Like, that's how that would go.
Yes.
So more from the Vox.com, which has a detailed piece here about the incel, the young men. I don't know, maybe there's older men too. The men online who are upset, they're angry that they aren't having sex, and some of them lashing out with violence and lauding those who have lashed out with violence as well. It's this embrace of helplessness, writes Vox, of their certainty of their own sexual doom that makes the more extreme incel community so dangerous. Instead of trying to support each other and work through their issues as a group, the incels in certain communities allow their resentments to curdle. They see the world through the lens of entitlement. They are owed sex, but cannot have it because women are shallow. This manifests in a deep and profound hatred for women as a group, which shows up on a very brief scan of some of the more extreme incel communities. One incel.
The idea that you can't have sex seems kind of ludicrous to me. On one hand, I can see, right, on Tinder, supposedly 20% of men get 80% of the attention, and therefore that means that 80% of the men get 20% of the attention.
Right.
One presumes that 20% of the attention is probably focused upwards as far as looks. Tinder's I guess, look, I've only been shown Tinder. I haven't actually used the app. I have no particular reason to, but it's, you can be clever in a few words down at the bottom. You can show some pictures. Those pictures can be funny or attractive, and that's about all you got there. Whereas, if we look at this from a statistical standpoint, there are about as many women as there are men in a given age bracket. If you're looking inside your age bracket, then you're going to have, you're going to have better luck, because the women inside your age bracket are interested in men inside their age bracket. Generally. Yep. There are a few young women who are looking for older men, but that runs your numbers down or up depending on who you are. So if you're looking inside your age bracket, if you're talking about pair bonding here, there's a certain number of people who are pair bonded, right? Like they've got their mate at that moment in time. That may not be permanent, but they're at least there at that moment in time. We're taking a sliver of time, and at which point that means the rest of them are not. There are about as many women as there are men, so therefore no, the fish are in the sea. All you have to do is go where they are. If you're a man, go to places where women go. I can't tell you entirely where those places are. I'm thinking, I don't even know what age you're looking at here, but, look for your age group. Go to the internet and say, what do 32-year-old women do? I don't know, but that's where you go, and that's how you figure that out.
One poster on the Incel.me forum wrote, and I'm going to have to censor this. It's pretty
angry.
Pretty angry. I have sluts for managers, he writes, and then says several profane things about the way they look, and further says they brag about all the D that they suck, unquote. It's not just individual women that these radical incels hate, it's society writ large, a society that allows their perceived sexual oppression to go on. The sexual revolution, in particular, comes in for hate. They believe women being freed to make their own sexual choices rather than married off to men and made subordinate is the reason that women can choose to sleep with attractive men and ignore the so-called incels.
So do they, but this is the whole thing. Do they want women to sleep around or not?
Yeah, this is the
saying
contradiction.
You want traditional values, but also that you want to get laid.
I haven't heard from these incels yet that they're claiming that they want women with traditional values.
Well, that just says
that's right here, Mark. It's saying that they believe that women's revolution, or the sexual revolution, has freed women to make their own sexual choices. And so they would rather women being married off to men and made subordinate, but instead, now that they have the freedom to choose...
I didn't understand what that part about the married off and being subordinate.
Now that they're free to choose, they can just sleep with attractive men and forget about everybody else.
Well,
that's the idea.
Yep. Yes, they can.
This is how...
be attractive. There are a few ways to do it.
This is how inceldom becomes a political doctrine. They see themselves as a class oppressed by a social system that's rigged in favor of other men. One post on an incel subreddit compared their worldview to Marxism, with incels playing the part of the proletariat and the Chad as the bourgeoisie.
They have the labor theory of life.
That's not Marxism. That's a very capitalist view of sexual market value.
There's more coming up here.
More capitalist than maybe it should be.
In moments, your calls and thoughts. If you are an incel, you want to talk about it, we'd love to hear from you. This is Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Raising you wasn't all Skittles and unicorns, but you turned out pretty awesome thanks to Mom. Look, Mother's Day is coming. It's her big day. Mom's Day is Bouque's Day. Bouques. That's short for bouquets, and these flowers are bouquing awesome. Mom don't want online sweatshop flowers that wilt in 2 days. Your mom deserves flowers from the Bouques. Bouques flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Bouques farms and delivered straight to your mom, so they last weeks, not days. Bouques even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Bouques cuts out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan designed flowers from Bouques. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com, and remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. Bouques, BOUQS.com, and use code FTL to save an extra 15%.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us right here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. The Skype username is LRN.FM. We're talking about a movement that, can you really call it a movement? It's just people bitching online.
About something in particular.
But it's called Incel, which stands for involuntarily celibate. It's a group of men who are very angry, apparently, some of them to the point of committing violence against others. In one recent example, the Toronto van massacre, where a man got up on the curb in Toronto and ran down approximately 24 people, killing at least 10. He apparently identified as part of this incel movement. Now, that's not to say that most of them are that angry, but there are definitely a portion of them who are.
If you're that angry, won't you just be angry about something anyway and commit whatever it is you're committing?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Do want to let you know about Zencash. If you're into cryptocurrency and you're thinking you want to branch out from Bitcoin, because everybody's into crypto's got some Bitcoin, right? You want to branch out into some of the other cryptos, the other 1,500 plus cryptocurrencies in the world. Where do you start? Which one should you look at? I mean, you can't possibly look through all 1,500 of them. So go and look at Zencash. We recommend it because it's founded by voluntarists. It was created in 2017, so it's pretty new as far as the world of crypto is concerned. They are secure, though, with over 8,000 secure nodes. Zencash is one of the most secure networks of any cryptocurrency on the planet. And this is great technology, by the way, with Zencash. It is zero-knowledge anonymity, meaning Zencash is one of the few truly private currencies out there if you want to use the privacy features with Zencash. And then also they have decentralized autonomous organizations they're working on to help govern the currency. You ought to go and do your due diligence and learn more over at zencash.com. If you love the ideas of freedom, you'll probably really enjoy Zencash. They wrote voluntarism right into the white paper. See it for yourself at zencash.com. We're talking about Alec Manation, or Manassian, who was the van killer, apparently, in Toronto, running down innocent people on the sidewalk. I presume both men and women, because I'd imagine the sidewalk would carry both types of individuals. But he was apparently pretty mad about not having sex as often or ever as he would like, and he was part of this Incel group on online. There's different forums and such, and Vox.com has done kind of a detailed piece here explaining what this is all about. And so, again, some of them are, at least one poster on a subreddit for Incel compared their worldview to Marxism, with the Incels playing the part of the proletariat and the Chad, which is the sort of ideal man, who they believe they are not, as the bourgeoisie.
I'm not sure that Incel is, in fact, the proletariat, because the proletariat largely never cared about Marxism. The Incel are the Marxists who believe that, like the labor theory of value. Well, I've done such and such. I've been born. I have reached puberty. I now deserve sex. And, that
ain't the world,
Yeah,
son.
that's not how value's created, son.
The natural corollary of this idea is clear. If the root of the problem is an unfair social system, there needs to be a revolution to change it. This is where the idea of the Incel rebellion that Mr. Manation, the killer, referenced comes from. Sometimes called beta uprising on the Incel forums in a reference to beta
Saying,
males.
I am a beta.
They self-identify that
As a
that's
beta.
their phrasing.
Yeah.
Yes. These are the Incel forums that use the term beta uprising. Now, for those that aren't familiar, the beta is it's a term I've only heard in recent years. I don't recall
It's a
it being-
biological term in some species.
Right, but I've never heard it used like as a thing.
I don't know if it's officially a thing in humans as far as scientists are concerned, but in some species it's a valid.
So like you have the alpha dog, you have the beta.
Most cultures you have, it's monogamous pairings as far as humans go, so it wouldn't work exactly that way. But you do have some guys who tend to go to the top, and it tends to be guys that go to the top for whatever reason in say business situations and maybe social situations. So that's probably what they're referring to. I don't I think everybody probably thinks of themselves. It's like men. If you ask them, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, I hear that you're going to Ian, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10.
6.
You think you're a 6? Or what are you basing it on?
Ian thinks he wants to annoy Mark. Like you
I don't know.
biased you're supposed to do a double mind study.
It's like
Anyway.
it's like we talked about earlier. How do you really judge
rate
these things? Like generally, if I'm asked to rate somebody, I won't rate anybody lower than a 5, just because like, what do you do
That'd be
lower than
cruel.
a 5? Is it like an axe to somebody who's had an axe put to their face or something like that? I mean,
Presumably, the people who are average are 5s and 6s.
Okay.
So you've called yourself slightly above average, which,
There you go.
There you go, whatever that might be. I say that most women are going to call themselves 6s or 7s, and most men are going to call themselves 8s and 9s.
Really? Okay.
That's, my theory. But then again, it's just a theory. It's a
All right. Well, maybe
theory.
maybe our Discord chat can throw out their numbers. What are your numbers that you would rate yourself as on a scale of 1 to 10?
Go to discord.freetalklive.com and post in there.
Well, they also have websites, right? Remember years ago, Mark, we talked about hotornot.com.
9.3, baby.
Is that what you got on that site? Really?
9.3.
So where other
It was
people can rate you.
Back in the day, though. And I didn't put myself on the site, which makes me that much
Somebody
happier
else did?
about it. Yeah. You remember Michelle, who used to work as the receptionist?
Yeah.
Yep, she did.
So back here to the story. So there's no centralized planning, no incel equivalent to Osama bin Laden. There are just men on various online forums celebrating violence and forming a mutually supportive echo chamber that justifies harming others, especially women, in the name of this incel uprising. Another poster on incels.me writes, quote, "I do not blame Alec Manation for what he did. I blame society for treating low-status men like garbage. There will always be more rampages because of the way society treats us." Unquote.
There are so many ways to go meet women, have sex with women, that the idea that you got to go out and kill some people in order to...
That is not going to help you get
It's not going to help you, and it's not going to help society.
No.
Well, at least I haven't heard the theory behind the incel revolution in order to be able to critique it.
Yeah, me neither.
So I couldn't say one way or the other. I'm kind of curious as to what this theory is. So if you want to look it up and call me at 855-450-FREE, that's 855-450-3733. I'd love to hear it.
Some of the reactions to the Toronto attack have been even more extreme. David Futrell, a journalist who follows the incel movement, on his site, We Hunted the Mammoth, which is what the caller earlier had recommended, took screenshots of some of the most extreme pro-Manation posts in which posters call for more ERs, which are, to them, attacks like the California shooters, using the initials of the California killer, the ER. Here's one of the worst ones. And let's see, can I even read some of this here? That S right here is life fuel for me and exactly what I was talking about. Too many ER guys are using guns, so it's expected and they get taken down very quickly these days. Not only that, but having these killings only take place with guns makes normies feel safe. Since this guy used a vehicle, now the whole ban gun spiel looks like retarded coping. You can't ban hatred. Hatred is all it takes to go do a mass killing event. This is literally what I asked for. Finally, somebody breaking the mold. Next up, how about a guy who breaks into a condom vending machine at night, pokes holes in all the condoms, and closes the machine? I would love to see the end result of that S. Pure life fuel.
So this guy can't even do his own terrorism. This is why he can't get results. He has to talk about how other people should do stuff for him.
The things that he wants them to do.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username, LRN.FM. He goes on to say he prefers acid attacks to mass killings. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this hospital.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Forget it. Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here. You can join us and bring up whatever you want, although we've been talking about Incel, the involuntarily celibate group of men on various different internet forums who, according to Vox.com, have been radicalizing one another. And, sort of they're going to lead up to a question here. Well, they've come to the conclusion, and I don't think that it's necessarily a conclusion that you can draw, and I want to hear what you think about it. They've come to the conclusion that the internet is making these attacks, like the attack on the guy that ran people down with a van recently in Toronto, who apparently identified as one of these incels, the involuntarily celibates. They say that it makes them more likely. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
What makes them more likely?
It makes what more likely?
The fact that the internet exists and that these people can get together and find one another and communicate, basically, is what they say.
That may or may not be true, but then we would see that crime has increased, and it hasn't.
So we can talk more about that. Also, do want to let you know about Melanie. She offers tax services and bookkeeping services as well.
It's past April 15th. How you feeling?
So I have a couple people who may or may not be coming on as full-time bookkeeping clients.
That's awesome.
Which is basically tax prep for the next year. I am also trading my fiance right now, so we're going to have two people.
Oh, really?
Within a year or two.
He'll be able to do the sort of the heavy lifting, and then you polish it up, that kind of thing.
For starters, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, cool. So, but you're able to. It's past April 15th. You can finally relax. There's so much work to do in that time frame, and now you're getting back into the sort of the normal accounting, bookkeeping.
So bookkeeping, just kind of getting everything set up, either set up for your next year or keeping up with it if you are too busy running your business to deal with regulations.
And Melanie knows the tax law. She's into reading the tax code.
She saved me money.
So you're pretty happy with the
right.
with the
I'm
service.
very happy with the service. I like the fact that she's libertarian.
She's an anarchist. She describes as an anarchist.
She can describe herself however she wishes. Yeah. I can also use terminology that I can relate to. And to my mind, Melanie is libertarian, and that means that she is looking to A, not see me and my family in jail, and B, not have us pay any extra money. And so not only can she tell me what my taxes are, but she can tell me systems for not having to pay as much. And that's kind of cool, right? Like earn a little less here, then you pay a little less there. That's not a bad thing.
So she can help you set all this stuff up and maximize what you keep or what you get back from the states. And do you help people with state taxes too?
There are 3 states that I am not licensed in yet. Okay. California and 2 weird ones. I can do New York. That's usually the one that's the list that you can't do. but all of the rest of them I can, working on the other ones.
Odds are good. She can help you. Whatever kind of income tax stuff you got to deal with, you want bookkeeping help, she can help you there too. And you can reach out to her directly through her website by going to tax.freetalklive.com. That's tax.freetalklive.com. We've been talking about Incel, the group of men online that are very angry about their loneliness, and some of them lashing out. Vox.com in a detailed piece here, they are going to make the claim, and they're going to do it here shortly, that being online actually encourages this violence, and I don't know if that's necessarily true. We'll dig into that. They cite a quote from one of the Incel posters on one of their various forums online, which is very, very angry. It talks about mass acid attacks and how this poster would like to see mass acid attacks happen, and that he would give a high score to the person who
some
does that.
Loser on the internet.
A high score to the guy who is going to either then be dead or in jail.
This is the stuff, writes Vox, of terrorist incitement and recruitment. The appeal to male frustration in these communities serves, as my colleague Aja Romano has written, as kind of a gateway. Men log on to complain about their loneliness and dating failures and end up getting sucked into a community that encourages them to blame women and society for their problems, and eventually some of them decide to do something about it. Terrorism is a notoriously difficult concept to define, but the most widely accepted definition among scholars is that terrorism is a form of violence directed against civilians by a non-state actor with the goal of achieving some kind of political end.
Notice that they want to slide in that non-state actor. Huh. I wonder why you would have to say that it was a non-state actor.
There was a treaty that got put on hold at the UN for years because they wanted to make a treaty against terrorism, but couldn't come up with a definition of terrorism that
didn't involve the state?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the dictionary definition, it does not say non-state. It is just basically, any kind of violent action with the intention of political change.
That's because some administrations and some regimes will want to call other regimes terrorist regimes.
Right.
They use that terminology. Terror state. They use that terminology, so they want to be able to call some governments terrorists, and I would agree with them. But if you intend to, the political ends are ruling somebody, changing their behavior. If you're intending to use violence to change people's behavior or rule them, and that's the definition of terrorism, that's the definition of the state. That's the definition of government as we have understood it up to this point. Now, I'm not saying that's the definition of government. I'm not that, that's not me.
Well, because of how language works, language is descriptive, not proscriptive. If that's the only way that the word government has been used, then that is the definition of the word government.
Unless you specify otherwise, right?
And get everyone or most people to agree with you and use it that way.
Yeah.
By this standard, there's no doubt the Toronto attack, again, the running down of 24 people with a van, fits the bill. The perpetrator wasn't taking revenge on a specific woman who'd wronged him. He wanted to instill terror in society writ large as a means of furthering the incel rebellion against the sexual status quo. Now, it's not.
Did he say that in some kind of manifesto, or did he just run into people and because he was an incel guy, the incel people have saying, "Yay, he's one of us"?
Here's
Yippee.
a quote from him on what appears to be Facebook. Alec Manation saying, quote, "Private Recruitmentation Infantry 00010, wishing to speak to Sergeant 4chan, please. C232-491-161. The Incel Rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. All hail the Supreme Gentleman Elliot Rodger." Now remember, Elliot Rodger is the killer who killed like half a dozen people in California back in 2014.
Wow.
So that's one excerpt. That's one excerpt. I don't know what else he said, Mark. That's the only thing they include here in this article.
Okay.
But I bet somebody else has dug deeper and probably found some other stuff. Anyway,
if you have to dig deep for a motivation of a suicide attack, or I guess this wasn't necessarily a suicide attack, but of a terrorist attack, it probably wasn't the real motivation.
Did this guy die? Is he in prison, or did he get shot by the cops?
I don't know.
I think he went to prison. He got arrested.
This is not a familiar type of terrorism, writes Vox. The groups we hear about most tend to have an understandable political goal, like installing an Islamist regime or winning the right for their region to secede from a country. The Incel Rebellion has a much more amorphous endpoint.
Yeah.
There's no worked-out vision for what success looks like.
No.
Nor is there a chief ideologue working to come up with one. You just have a bunch of random internet forum posters pushing one another toward violence.
Agreed.
While extremist groups are quite commonly misogynistic and even recruit based on male sexual frustration, their ideologies almost never center on that fact. There have been mass acts of misogynistic violence before, as in the 1989 shooting at Montreal's École Polytechnique that claimed the lives of 14 women, but there wasn't a large online community providing an ideology that justified the killer's grievances. The incel turn toward violence is a unique phenomenon, at least in the modern era. This creates a fairly difficult challenge for law enforcement agencies. On the one hand, there's a real terrorist threat from incel communities. It's clearly not all talk.
A very real terrorist threat? I mean, two of these occurrences have happened.
On
I'm
the
not
other
sure
hand,
it's a very real threat, but all right.
There are serious risks that come along with having American and Canadian law enforcement officials trawling Reddit for people to arrest.
Yeah, that's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, we don't want to see freedom of speech restricted here. People who are angry on the internet.
Threats are not freedom of speech.
Sure. But the anger, they're saying it's the anger and the talk. And somebody saying, hey, I really liked it when these killings happened, isn't a threat. But at the same time, it could be viewed as inciting other people into
in Canada, it's probably illegal.
Doing something. There's more coming up here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But my question is, I don't know if Vox is right here. Vox is suggesting that the internet is making these things more likely to occur because of these angry people coming together. But isn't it possible the internet's also stopping these things from happening because these lonely men, at the very least, can find some sort of community instead of just being alone and angry? We're coming up.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Ted Anderson telling you about Jordan Rubin's Beyond Organic Green-Fed Raw Cheddar Artesian Cheese featuring whole milk created through ancient dairy breeding, unpasteurized, untreated whole milk on the same farm the cows graze, containing natural sources of omega-3s, CLA protein, calcium, probiotics, and enzymes. I have never tasted cheese this good, and you need to try it. Contact your Longevity distributor or call 877-878-4203 or go to gcnteam.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, so feel free to Skype on in here, and you can bring up anything that you want, although we have been talking about this Incel phenomenon, which is getting a lot of news coverage. It's not just Vox.com. There's a lot of headlines this week over this Incel thing having risen to the forefront after a man named Alec.
It's the new boogeyman.
Alec Manation, he ran down people with a van, a rental van. So he just rented a van and then just barreled down a sidewalk in Toronto, killing at least 10 people, 15 more wounded. And according to the Telegraph in the UK, yes, this guy is still alive. So I did confirm that was one of my questions in the last segment, although he did beg police to shoot him when they
How you beg police to shoot you is with a fake gun or an unloaded gun
Yep.
or even
Or
a
a
real
gun.
gun, I guess.
Or just reaching in your pants like you've got a gun.
Yeah, or just go for your cell phone or...
Apparently, he was not shot by the police.
Oh, this is Canada, though, right?
This is Toronto,
Okay,
correct?
yeah. That
Go
might not
ahead
work.
and shoot me, eh?
And he's now facing, let's see here, 13 counts of attempted murder and 10 counts of murder. So that's what he's facing, and he is still alive. The story from Vox is talking about how this is, in their opinion, basically terrorism, but terrorism without any kind of defined social change that you could even
Well, they
really...
have a social goal. It just doesn't happen to be a coherent one.
Nor will it be achieved by mass murder.
And if there are two of these people, the one in Canada and the one in LA from 2014, I'm not even sure you can call this a movement at this point if you've just got two people. I mean, then at that point, anybody who has a grievance that goes and does a mass killing is part of some movement, right? Like, I mean, whatever their I don't know what the grievance of the person who went into Sandy Hook was, besides he's nuts, or the one that went into the high school down in Florida, whatever that one's called. All
Parkland.
The Parkland. All these names just, they fly past me. I mean, what's the grievance? I don't know what the grievance at this point. I don't know what these people's grievance really is either, other than they're upset that they can't have sex. Well, They can. They're just not trying hard enough. This guy had a high level of commitment to what he was willing to do, right? So
sure.
If he would have had that level of commitment to working out, getting a job,
meeting women,
that guy would have been successful.
Eventually, he would have.
He had a high level commitment to his own loserdom, his own lack of success. He didn't want to be convinced otherwise.
So my question was, the conclusion that Vox seems to be making here is that the internet is radicalizing these lonely, angry men and making them lonelier and angrier, and therefore they're more likely to lash out violently.
If that's the case, as you pointed out, if that's the case, then one would presume that an equal amount of men find camaraderie, that are talked down off the ledge.
Right, because how many, before the internet, before these folks were able to easily find one another, which, again, Vox is saying is a bad thing, how many of them were alone and then angry and not having anyone to talk to, anyone else that they could relate to, and more likely to, it would seem to me that would be a more likely formula for someone to lash out, as if they had no social connections whatsoever, let alone not women, but not men either, just holed up in their house watching VHS tapes or something like that.
Rather than listening to the meanderings of some person chit-chatting on the internet, which is what this Vox article is, why don't we look at facts? Oh, there's a novel idea, something that the author didn't even consider. How are mass killings going in the United States or North America? I can tell you for the United States that mass killings have had a mild uptick from their all-time lows in the early aughts.
Mm-hmm.
But they are no higher than they were in the 80s or 90s. So am I frightened? Is there some kind of crisis going on? I don't think so. I think this is just the ramblings of an author at the end of an article.
There's also a serious identification challenge, says
And
Vox.
by the way, what does the author think we're going to do? Get rid of the internet?
No, I mean, that's what they're pointing out here is you can't really stop this. Online communities are both full of empty talk and draped in irony, making it tough for social media companies and law enforcement officials to figure out who's a threat and who isn't.
Right.
Well, yeah, because, most people aren't going to go in a car and run random people down. Most people, if they can go vent, that's enough for them. How long that lasts is a separate issue, but there's a reason why corporations and schools and people who sell you things send out surveys that they're never going to read, and it's a lot of the time a security thing. Schools will send out surveys at the end of the semester. They don't care what you think about the class. They care about the class not getting shut up because now you could vent, so now you're not going to go be mad about it.
You think a survey is going to stop somebody from shooting up the class?
I think a survey is
If it
going
stops half
to
of
let
them, it's
someone
successful.
vent who is unstable, and then after they've vented, they're going to go
They're
do
done.
something else.
Quote, the perpetrator's post really highlights the challenges facing the social media companies. It read like a joke or nonsense. Remember, we read his post where he was talking about how he was one of these incel rebellions, and it did seem like just kind of a silly post on the internet. He says, we'll overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. The incel rebellion has already begun.
So they're going to commit genocide to kill all the hot people so that they can still won't have any hot people to sleep with.
If I can't sleep with them, no one can.
Right. If you kill all the hot people, the top 20% of both the males and the females, then the top 20% of females will still not have sex with you because they'll be dead.
Right.
Right. I mean, the next quintile of females is still available. Still there, still available.
Does this mean, asks Vox, should we just throw up our hands and say the radicalization of some young men toward violent misogyny is inevitable? Of course not. Carvin suggests that social outreach programs focusing on countering the sense of isolation that draws young men to these communities in the first place.
The sense of isolation is news agencies making it seem like it's scary to go outside. It's funny that somebody at a news agency is saying, what are we going to do about this stuff? Well,
is Vox News? I think it's more opinion, isn't it? I don't know.
Vox is the voice. I don't know.
Might be a better idea than standing up to a potential counter-incel task force at the FBI. So they're proposing a program. We need a program to reach out to these boys and tell them that somebody loves them or whatever.
We need to go hug men and tell them not to be angry. Yeah, that's...
But yet on the other hand, Melanie, you've got a story tonight about the other side of men, the masculine males, that one college is trying to sort of demasculate them, to remove their masculinity, encouraging them to do that. We're going to get into that coming up here. Your calls and thoughts are certainly welcome. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom. The final thought here from Vox is regardless of what the right solution is, we need to be clear-eyed about the type of challenge we're facing. The internet makes it easier than ever for sad and angry people to find each other and develop communities with weird and dangerous ideologies. What we're seeing right now is one of society's oldest hatreds, misogyny, being reworked in real time to fit a specific group of men's rage and pain, and 10 people in Toronto have died as a result. So there's not really a call to do anything differently about the internet here, but they're claiming that the internet is to some extent a factor, and that's what I'm calling into question here.
I suppose Dungeons and Dragons was a factor in some of the killings and suicides in the 80s. I mean, this sounds just like that to me.
And just because violent crime overall is down, and it is, does not mean that there are... So if you add a factor and it adds 3 deaths, it still added those 3 deaths, even though we have, whatever the number is, much more than that, less deaths than a year before or 10 years before. So if you, just because this is not a statistically significant problem does not mean that nobody ever killed anybody because they were mad on the internet.
For sure. But would they have been as likely, more likely, or less likely to kill? Would Alec Manishian, or whatever his name is, would have been, if it were 30 years ago and he were the same age and he were angry about not, having success with women, would he have been just as likely to do this without the internet, without these online communities?
I think it's going to go different ways for different people.
I mean, what difference does it matter? You can't get rid of the internet. It's like saying if we didn't have meat in the grocery store, then this wouldn't have occurred. Well, we're going to have meat in the grocery store tomorrow, and this doesn't make any sense. I think our critique that if there had been, if prostitution had been legal and brothels had been available, is probably just as, if not more likely, to reduce the number of these situations than anything.
It would seem like it.
Because, there'd be some kind of relief valve. These guys would be able to claim, well, at the very least, I can have sex for, I don't know what it is in the German brothels. I don't know what the premium is there. I have no idea. I haven't been there and don't intend to go anytime soon.
But Melanie, you're going to tell us about a college that actually wants to create more of these beta males.
Yes.
And that's on the way here. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, saying that masculinity is a bad thing. 855-450-3733. You can take control here. Hour number 3 is next on Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, April 30th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.28 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,313 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $40, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,296. Antiwar.com reports during Friday's summit, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un told South Korea's President Moon Jae-in that he is willing to totally abandon nuclear weapons in return for an end to the Korean War and a promise from the United States not to invade. North Korean officials have long said that their nuclear program was only necessary to deter a U.S. attack. Getting a formal pledge from the U.S. not to invade would achieve that goal, assuming it's a credible promise. North Korea appears to believe that they can get such a promise. New Secretary of State Mike Pompeo Pompeo appeared optimistic as well. In comments on ABC's This Week, Pompeo said he believes there is a real opportunity for a denuclearization deal with North Korea. He added that conditions are right for such a deal. National Security Advisor John Bolton was less hopeful, saying that the U.S. must hold out for concrete evidence of denuclearization. Bolton had long supported attacking North Korea and has never favored diplomacy to achieve U.S. policy goals. Regardless of what cabinet members think, President Trump is the one that's going to be driving U.S. involvement in the peace process. Trump has been very clear in his support for a diplomatic process and the upcoming summit with Kim. Trump has defended the lead up to the summit in the face of growing media hostility towards diplomacy with North Korea. He has also rejected criticism that he's giving away too much, noting he hasn't actually given North Korea anything yet, and it does not intend to without North Korea scrapping its nuclear arsenal. Denuclearization for peace, after all, is exactly the grand bargain that the U.S. had sought with North Korea. The South Korean government has gone to great lengths to lay the groundwork for such a deal and very much wants a deal ending the Korean War. U.S. officials have expressed support for a peace deal, but have emphasized denuclearization as their top priority. Such a deal would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. After growing diplomatic progress, huge deals not only seem possible, but very practical. Everyone is unusually willing to make a deal, and summits are lining up at just the right time to make big things happen.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
UPI reports Sprint and T-Mobile, two of the top 4 wireless phone carriers in the United States, announced on Sunday they have agreed to an all-stock merger that values the new provider at $146 billion. Deutsche Telekom AG, the German-based company that controls T-Mobile, and SoftBank Group Corp, the Tokyo-headquartered majority owner of Sprint, agreed to combine forces, according to a press release. T-Mobile paid $26.5 billion in stock for Sprint, with the total value including debt. The U.S. company will be called T-Mobile. It will be headquartered in Bellevue, Washington, which is where T-Mobile is based, with a second headquarter at Sprint's office in Overland Park, Kansas. John Legere, current president and CEO of T-Mobile, will serve as the new CEO, and Mike Sievert, current chief operating officer for T-Mobile, will be the president and chief operating officer of the combined company. Current Sprint CEO Marcelo Clare will serve on the board of the new company.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports police in New Orleans have obtained an arrest warrant for a 4th suspect wanted in connection with a gang rape investigation following the arrest of 3 U.S. Marines charged in the case. 2 women, a Tulane student and her friend, reported that they were raped by 4 men earlier this month at an off-campus home in New Orleans after a night out. The 2 women left a bar with 1 man and went to the house on April 15th. Once there, the man, identified by police as Antonio Landrum, invited 3 other men to the residence. The women claim all 4 men sexually assaulted them. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
If you're the parent of a man-child, you know how frustrating it can sometimes be. The piercing sound of his video games waking you up at 2 in the morning. His insatiable hunger and inability to cook anything for himself. The messes he makes. The stress can be overwhelming.
Something will set them off, such as their man-child will tell them that they don't know how to tie a tie even though they're almost 30. They'll start shaking them and yelling and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you get a real job instead of working part-time at a board game store?"
The results of shaken man-child syndrome are devastating. Trauma caused by the brain colliding with the inside of the man-child's skull can lead to cognitive disabilities, making it even more unlikely he'll finally marry the girl he's been having a long-distance online relationship with for 6 years. Or it can even lead to death.
He's not spilling cereal all over the couch or leaving his beard clippings in the bathroom sink intentionally. He truly does not know what he's doing.
For the Lab Report, I'm Stuart Adams.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. As we launch here into the third hour with me, Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
And also, you can join us on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM or call us on our Discord on-air call-in line room. Just go to discord.lrn.fm to get in there, where there are people talking in the various different chat rooms. But one of those rooms is the dedicated on-air call-in line room. And when you join that room, we'll notice you there and join that room with you and put you on the radio with us. Let's go to the phones and to the fun. Then coming up, we'll talk about there's a college that, Melanie, you're going to tell us about in Texas that is apparently saying that people who are too masculine need to check in for some help.
Yes.
To become less masculine is what they're saying. But first, we go to Dave in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
Hi.
Hey there.
Well, you know, in New Hampshire, it's not a home rule state, so the state law basically preempts local law when it comes to guns. So state, the cities in practice and the towns they're not supposed to be able to pass regulations on firearms. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they would. There's probably some towns that would like very much to be able to pass regulations and just outright bans on guns.
And that's true across the board for any law in New Hampshire, unless the state legislature has specifically authorized a town or city, or generally towns or cities, to create a law in a certain area, they are not supposed to be allowed to do it. Now, that hasn't stopped them in certain circumstances. Like, for instance, here in Keene, years ago, they decided, well, we're just going to go ahead and outlaw what they call synthetic marijuana or synthetic drugs. And they weren't authorized to do that by state law. Later, the state changed their laws and did prohibit those things. But basically, the city attorney, when he was confronted with this during a council meeting, when somebody brought this up to him, was like, yeah, we're not really actually authorized to do this, are we, city attorney? The attorney's like, yeah, we probably would lose in court, but you know what? F it, just go for it and see what happens. And so they did. So
well,
what's the latest?
Unfortunately, New Hampshire is still a part of the United States that have perpetually scared people, and so the gun hysteria has spread to Portsmouth, and the city government there is trying to do some sort of regulation on firearms. And there's an article.
Really?
And what's interesting, you know, when you try to come after guns, you go back to the Second Amendment, you wind up finding yourself going after the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment, at least, probably the 10th Amendment too. And so what's happened is they have invoked, or someone apparently speaking for the city, I was a little vague on where the quote came from, they invoked the right of the city to, quote, regulate anyone in the city doing anything, unquote.
Well, that's just made up out of whole cloth, so, wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting how libertarians in New Hampshire and Free Staters and these sorts are certainly, they want New Hampshire to be independent of the United States, but they don't seem to want the cities. Like Portsmouth is 97% Democratic voters.
Is it really?
That was the number that was given to me by Derek J. As far as how blue they are.
Yeah, he lives there.
And maybe I'm misremembering something like that, or I don't know. But this is towns
That's even
are
worse
small.
than Keene.
Yeah, that's pretty darn blue over there. So why shouldn't they be able to limit those things? Why would I want to, as a Granite Stater, to prevent a town from doing it what it is?
Because
that they
this
want?
is New Hampshire. And New Hampshire has certain freedoms that are supposed to be across all of New Hampshire.
Do you want localized rule or don't you?
I don't think there's any real benefit to having the local, whatever you're talking about.
You want California to be able to do what it wants to do and secede.
That's right.
And thus New Hampshire. But you don't want Portsmouth to be able to do it.
If Portsmouth secedes, then that's fine.
Is Portsmouth an economic unit? Because New Hampshire is.
If Portsmouth wants to... If Portsmouth wants to secede, then that's fine. But ultimately, that's not what they're calling for at this point. You're in New Hampshire, which is a very freedom-oriented place.
Calling for a form of nullification.
I'm sorry.
No, this is wrong. We're supposed to be in favor. We're supposed to be against acts of aggression against sentient beings, right?
Agreed.
So
sure.
That's the root of it all. Let's apply that to Portsmouth. That says that yes, if Portsmouth secedes or something like that, then no one in the state should be able to stop them, and the federals shouldn't be able to stop them. But no one, not including the city of Portsmouth even, should be able to commit an act of aggression against other sentient beings. And if you're telling people where they can carry firearms on public property or whatnot that they paid for, that's an act of aggression against them, and that's why we're against it.
I agree. I think it's just interesting that many libertarians think that the solution to these problems is increased localization of government. And when you increase the localization of government, you get places like Portsmouth.
Yeah, but again, the parts where they have to commit an act of aggression, that's still wrong. Even if we generally support local control, that doesn't mean we support the local control of a mayor to stop a person from carrying a firearm on public property.
I've met very few people who support local control as a solution. They might support it in an instance, whereas the gang of New Hampshire is nowhere near as bad as the gang of the U.S., so therefore side with New Hampshire. If it is the case that the gang of Portsmouth is worse than the gang of New Hampshire, then again, not support New Hampshire, but in that fight.
Well, the question is, what results in more freedom? Does home rule in general result in more freedom in the various different towns in New Hampshire? I would say it would not. The evidence suggests that home rule does not allow for more freedom because home rule protects us from these busybody city councils who otherwise would love to pass laws and ordinances left and right to restrict things. In this case, they're prohibited by the state government from doing that. So I think that across the board, it's a good thing.
The concept of home rule would allow somebody who wanted to put a project together in a city or in a state that had home rule to concentrate people into one municipality or county and have more freedom for themselves in a smaller area and thus need fewer people.
Well, if that's the case, then you should form the home rule state project
I
or
wouldn't do
county
that.
project or whatever.
I've got much better ideas on how to get freer for oneself.
I mean, there are people out there, Mark, and you know this very well because you run a webpage on Facebook about it, who have created
Move Here
projects, and some of them have wanted to take over a county or a city or whatever, and they've failed miserably.
The only reason they failed is because people don't show up.
Right, but people are moving to New Hampshire as part of a mass migration of libertarians, and the fact is New Hampshire is a small place. It's small geographically, it's small with population, and it is a relatively accessible political system here with 400 state representatives. So it's a state that is sort of designed to be difficult and unwieldy towards change.
Just because they're different governments act more or less aggressively at size. So just because a government the width of an entire continent is more aggressive than governments substantially smaller than that does not then therefore mean that it's a single slope down and that the smaller you get, the less aggressive you will get. It could be a reverse bell curve.
Right.
And I think that that's probably the case. Tiny, small towns tend to be the most aggressive, governments that they can be. And apparently countries the size of a continent also have the same problem.
No doubt about it. Dave from RidleyReport.com, thanks for the call tonight. And if something does happen out that way, we'll hopefully hear more from somebody. But
they're looking at an ordinance, I guess. They're
not going to get anywhere.
Well, we'll see. And like I said, Mark, they passed an illegal ordinance here in Keene outlawing the outlawing the synthetic drugs.
Anybody in New Hampshire.
And they got away with it.
Anybody in New Hampshire that has a concealed carry permit can go, or anybody in New Hampshire has standing to go into Portsmouth with a gun, get arrested,
and they'll beat the case.
And then beat the case. Yeah. And make money.
That's true. Dave, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. And I suspect our own Derek J. Freeman, former co-host here on Free Talk Live, who now lives out in the Seacoast area, specifically in Portsmouth, I bet you he'd be one of the ones to challenge it because he's been known to open carry more than a time or two. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Again, if you like the ideas of liberty and you care enough about them and you want to see them implemented in your lifetime, then it makes sense to get together where other people are doing that. You can learn more about the freedom migration here to New Hampshire by going to 101reasonsfilm.com. It's a great little documentary. You can watch it free online. More coming up here on Free Talk Live. Mother's Day sneaks up, and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly like green onions. That tells Mom you didn't care enough to send flowers from the Bouqs. That's short for bouquets. And they're bouquing awesome. Bouqs flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Bouqs farms and delivered straight to your mom. So they last weeks, not days. Bouqs even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Bouqs cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan design flowers from the Bouqs. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. Bouqs.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. You can take control of the airwaves. 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And Skype on in here. Skype username LRN.FM, or hop in the Discord on-air call-online room over at discord.lrn.fm.
Mother's Day sneaks up and you hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60, or we grab a last-minute flowers from the produce department that smell
oddly of green onions. That tells Mom you didn't care enough to send the flowers from the Bouqs. That's short for bouquets, and they're bouquing awesome. Bouqs flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Bouqs farms and delivered straight to your mom, so they last weeks, not days. Bouqs even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you right online. And because Bouqs cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at amazing prices. Show Mom how much you care. Send their artisan design flowers from the Bouqs. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL and save 15% at Bouqs.com.
So earlier in the show tonight, we spent a good amount of time talking about Incel, which is a group of angry men online. They're mad because they're not having sex. They feel like they're owed it because they're men and they were born and they're breathing. And they're mad about that. And some of them,
a little bit more than that.
And some of them apparently are willing to lash out violently. In fact, one of them was the van killer in Toronto, who's now facing multiple murder charges. That's something we looked in detail at here, and it was interesting because the Vox is sort of seems like a lefty-leaning website that was reporting on this, and they were bemoaning the idea of the beta male uprising, as apparently the incel people even call themselves this, the beta male uprising.
Well, yeah, they want them to just kind of be over there and be beta males, not uprise.
Well, yeah, but so they're
also the leftist publication wrote about this because it's an excuse to hate on men.
They're identifying that these beta males have been radicalized on the internet, is what they're saying, and that's a bad thing, is what they're saying. But here, on the other hand, you've got a story you're going to tell us about where a college is actually trying to encourage men to be more beta and less masculine. So tell us about what's going on at Texas College.
Yeah, so the University of Texas, of all universities, if not of all places, has from their mental health department issued a statement about masculinity in general. This time we're dropping the it's only the toxic part facade that we had going on for a few years there.
So now all masculinity is a problem.
Yes. So it says here, the Counseling and Mental Health Center at the University of Texas at Austin recently launched a new program to help male students, quote, take control over their gender identity and develop a healthy sense of masculinity.
A healthy sense.
So that now they're saying healthy sense of masculinity. So it's not masculinity. You're just hypersensitive, Melanie.
Yeah, well, treating masculinity as if it were a mental health crisis, Masculine UT is organized by the school's counseling staff and most recently organized a poster series encouraging students to develop a healthy model of masculinity. The program is...
The question is, what does that look like? What is the college?
I want to know what regular masculinity looks like. I just don't know what masculinity means exactly.
Well, if all the people showing up have masculinity such that it needs to be treated at the Mental Health Services Center, then it looks like not what they're getting.
But everybody who goes to the Mental Health Services Center needs treatment. Just ask them.
Right, but they're trying to get more people to go into the Mental Health Services Center. So they're treating them, just all incoming male students, as if they have a mental health issue because of their masculinity. The program is predicated on a critique of so-called restrictive masculinity. Men, the program argues, suffer when they are told to act like a man or when they are encouraged to fulfill traditional gender roles, such as being, quote, successful or, quote, the breadwinner. So successful should be treated, if you
want to be successful,
you should go hit up the mental health center because obviously you have mental health issues.
I'm not sure I got that. I mean, it sounded like what they were saying is that, people who are told that they should be successful because they're men, some of them apparently can't handle this kind of suggestion, and, some of them will break down. And that's probably true.
Yeah, normalizing and not being able to handle being told that you should be something in the vague realm of successful is not something that we should be doing as human beings.
I think that we are creating a nation where more and more people need, those are air quotes, mental health services in order to handle
life.
Because they're being
because
diagnosed left and right with all these problems.
I think it's just gotten easier and easier to live. Right? Like I grew up with color television and, well, not in my house, but, air conditioning. Air conditioning existed when I grew up, although I didn't have it in my house. Washing machines and these sorts of things. And you didn't have to struggle as much. So, and I would say that if I grew up in a relatively easy world, then
it's even easier now.
Right, so then you should have no problem being successful.
What's that?
So then you should have no problem being successful. You don't have to define that as everyone has to be the CEO of Shell, but just success is now a trait that's
success
suspicious.
is get your butt up and go to work. That's what success is.
Show up on time.
Yep.
Smile.
Yeah. Have a good attitude.
Yep. All right, what else?
Though you might, and this is coming from the statement from the university, though you might enjoy taking care of people or being active, Masculine UT warns that many of these attributes are actually dangerous, claiming that traditional ideas of masculinity place men into rigid or restrictive boxes which prevent them from developing their emotional maturity. If you are a male student at UT reading this right now, we hope that learning about this helps you not to feel guilty about having participated in these definitions of masculinity and instead feel empowered to break the cycle the program offers. So don't be successful, be empowered instead.
By coming down to the mental health clinic where we will tell you about all the ways that you're doing masculinity wrong.
Yes.
Basically. Do masculinity the way we say to do it.
So it's bad that society tells you how to be a man and that you should have a job and be successful, which university would seem... It would seem that a university would think that would apply to everyone, not just men.
Yeah,
but then you should
point...
become and be told by the mental health professionals how to be a man in a different way.
Wasn't the point of going to college to assist people with being successful? I mean, the theory, at least, behind it.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason the parents pay the tuition.
The stated goal, not necessarily the actual.
Maybe that's not what it is anymore, but it felt like, that was this sort of point behind it was, hey, you're supposed to better yourself by going to college so you have a better chance at getting careers and all that. Now, we know that's a load of crap and that plenty of college graduates end up nowhere near a job that has anything to do with the reason why they graduated or the degree that they received. But, I mean, they're just basically coming right out and saying, oh, well, if you feel like you are being asked to be a success in life, just come on down to the health clinic
and we'll talk you out of it.
And we'll tell you that it's okay to want to be a loser. And that's masculine, too. What? Is that what I just heard?
Yes. Yes, it is.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. Bring up whatever's on your mind, your calls, thoughts on masculinity. Did you encounter this stuff in college? Are you in college right now?
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Pre-order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. Just dial in toll-free here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. Bitcoin.com is loaded up with useful features that you can utilize, like the ability to actually purchase Bitcoin through the website. There's actually some controversy about that these days. We haven't actually had a chance to talk about it, but there's some people who want to sue Bitcoin.com over this, and it's pretty ridiculous. We can explain that if we got time for it. I don't know if we will tonight. But if you want to get Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash, you can go to Bitcoin.com. Actually, go to buy.bitcoin.com. Now, apparently, based on the state that you're in or nation or whatever, it may tell you can only get one or the other. But some of you will be able to get them both at buy.bitcoin.com. You want to get into their mining pool to mine Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Cash? It is up to you over at pool.bitcoin.com which one you choose, or choose them both if you want. Get into 2 different mining contracts over at pool.bitcoin.com. And there's all kinds of other cool features like their news site loaded up with the latest news headlines every single day in the world of Bitcoin. Once again, head over to bitcoin.com. With you tonight, it's Ian.
Melanie.
And Mark.
Melanie, you've been sharing with us a statement from the University of Texas mental health, what was it? Mental health?
The mental
clinic, I think it was.
Mental health clinic.
They want you to show up if you are a man who feels as though he's being asked to be too masculine?
Yes, because if you're a man, that is a mental illness that must be treated. So all men are to report to the mental health unit, which sounds really dystopian. But,
That's right. You need to be reprogrammed, is the idea.
I'm not even sure what masculinity is, so and no one's offered, including the psychology department here of UT, has offered a particularly good definition of what masculinity might be, what toxic masculinity is, any of these things. It seems to be catch-all terms.
Masculinity.
Right, so that they can catch all of the men.
Yeah, if you're trying to be masculine, you're not. So there you go.
Masculinity, according to the dictionary, is pertaining to or characteristic of a man or men.
And what is characteristic of men? I don't know. Having genitalia? That's characteristic.
That would be it, yes. That's one thing that you can narrow down.
I'm told that that's not the whole thing these days.
No. All right, so what else are they saying here, Melanie? Besides, hey, you need to come here and be re-educated. We will tell you about what the college's version of masculinity is, and you ought to be more like that.
Yeah, so the program is currently without leadership, but not for long. The school is in the process of hiring a, quote, healthy masculinities coordinator to run the program.
I wonder if that'll be a man or a woman.
They should have me do it.
I don't know, because it would be more credible coming from a man.
Sure.
Not that it's particularly credible,
but then they
want to hire women because they're all apparently far left.
If you hire a man for, what was the position's name again that they were hiring him for?
The healthy masculinities coordinator.
If you're hiring a man for that, then he's become like the perfect man, right? Like he has to then be,
according to the states,
right? According to the school, this is the man we have chosen to tell you, boys, what you need to be a healthy masculine male. This is the ideal.
What are they paying? That's what I want to know.
All right,
I'll take care of it. I'll tell these kids what healthy men do. It'll be fine.
And yeah, I don't necessarily want to see you in a position like that, but yeah, if they could just send you down there for a day.
It'd be good. I'll fix them all up.
Heard you get some good benefits.
I'm sure.
Working for colleges.
And if you're a real professor, if you're one of these interns or whatever, then you're just screwed.
Yeah, so they're like one of those places that like, we pay our employees $80 bazillion, but most of the people working for us aren't our employees.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, what else are they saying?
And a school official tells PJ Media that some helpful hirees are interviewing for the position later this week. While many schools now have similar programs, which is disturbing,
mm-hmm.
This appears to be the first run directly out of a counseling and mental health center. So before, it was just like some social justice random problem to bitch about. Now
it's a
out
problem
of the
with your
mental
health.
The
center.
college feminists are offering courses on how to be a better man.
Yeah.
Great.
Because they clearly know what they want from one.
Yeah.
So they should definitely be training
I
them.
took women's studies, so now I'm going to tell you how you should act. And I'm pretty mad about the way things are. Well, that's evidenced by the fact that you took women's studies.
Well, anyway, go ahead with this story.
Though the school system seems to justify this by claiming that masculinity can cause men to lash out at other people and themselves, the school did not respond to a request for comment to clarify, because they couldn't.
Masculinity, does it cause men to lash out at others and themselves? I would say, yeah.
What is it?
True.
Tell me what it is. Tell me what masculinity is.
Well, it's that which is pertaining to the characteristic of a man. And if men have historically been, prone to fight, let's say over the
lashing
attraction
out doesn't mean fight. Lashing out means sort of saying mean things or fighting and stuff.
I'm pretty sure lashing out can mean a physical attack.
Lashing out is anything negative.
Okay.
Basically, and if men are negative, are women negative, and thus
women are completely perfect and they have no problems whatsoever.
Well, yeah, because women were easily convinced to drop gender roles, so that was easy. Men are apparently taking some convincing and help from the mental help / veiled threats from the mental health department to get them to go along with it. So,
but
yeah.
If masculinity causes people to lash out, then femininity does too.
Yeah.
Then there is no distinguishing difference between masculinity and femininity.
Good point, because certainly there's plenty of catfights. There's plenty of catfights out there for sure.
I would say that that solving your problems with your fists is traditionally considered masculine over feminine. Okay, so I'd be willing to say that, but I don't think there's nearly as many fist fights as there used to be.
Yeah, it's not like the overwhelming method by which conflicts are solved.
Yeah. I mean, fist fights were relatively common when I was in school, and I don't think that that's the case anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not in school, Mark, so it's really hard to say.
It's the impression I get.
You can't really compare, your experience to
I certainly don't know
other people's experience. I know that when I was in elementary school, I do remember we were in the area of Sarasota, Florida that we were in was kind of right across the street from the ghetto, basically, and there were two women in the streets who were scrapping. And they were still kind of coming at each other like in that classic women like flapping the hands at one another, not like throwing punches, but sort of like slapping downwards sort of motion. But they were tearing each other's clothes off at the same time. So it didn't look as violent, but it definitely was pretty darn vicious.
Is a technique that is often used in girl-on-girl fights. Is to get the other person to stop fighting
because they're embarrassed of their clothes.
Embarrass them by showing off their assets, which of course would not embarrass a man because it's not the issue. Like, it's much harder to embarrass a man through nakedness than it would be through embarrass a woman through nakedness.
Interesting point. Anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I don't know. When I see women fighting really incompetently, I just assume they have no male friends that would have taught them how to fight. Even like, not even necessarily competently, but just like not that
incompetently.
Yes.
You shouldn't be fighting that incompetently.
Yeah. Like it's okay to lose. Just not that bad. Like.
Well, I think the best bet is probably to not resort to violence as your means to solve your problems. But if it comes down to it, I suppose, you fight.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not always the one who did the attacking.
Indeed.
So you don't necessarily always have that option. Although, if these are people who know each other, you have the option of not hanging out with crazy people.
Or not sleeping with her man.
There's always that.
Yeah.
Was that part of the
I don't know.
Was that articulated as the problem?
I have no idea. This was 25 or however many years ago it was, 30 years, something like that.
I was just wondering whether you remembered what the reason for the fight was.
That's a common one, just,
It's happened
between
before,
people,
I've heard.
Because, getting in a fight over someone who clearly doesn't like you is sensible somehow.
All right, we got more on the way here. Is there more from the masculine press release from the college?
A little bit.
All right, 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. And if you want to jump in here to add to the conversation, you're certainly welcome to do so. Your experience on college campuses with masculinity. This is Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
A cool guy from middle school is still sporting his fat pair of Jinkos. A stunned St. Peter's Square crowd hears the Pope getting bitched out by God, and an 8th grader caked in makeup is probably really confident. This is The Onion Week in Review. This week, a Pew Research Center poll found that the vast majority of Americans would watch a television show called Love Trap, with most saying that regardless of the show's genre or quality, they would tune in weekly to see its stars stumble into romantic triangles, double-cross one another, and contend with whatever the titular love trap refers to. The survey confirmed that 62% of Americans would likely watch Love Trap to see a shrewd but cold-hearted Southern belle named Tammy. 23% of the nation hoped the show would be referred to as The Trap by its most loyal fans, and 15% of respondents said they simply needed something to watch. And in this week's science news, a biologist completes a 5-minute study of the pathetic organism in his mirror. In other news, a man confidently hits send on the worst job application a company has ever seen.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. You can take control of the airwaves toll-free at 855-450-FREE. Even in these remaining moments, we've been focusing on being a man, I guess, here tonight, and the Incel so-called revolution. These people who are celibate, they say, but not by choice. We talked about them quite a bit, but now some colleges are creating programs to encourage more of this beta male tendency. They're trying to discourage masculinity. In fact, Melanie's reading from a press release from a college clinic.
Well, it's the college's statements were quoted in this article, which is
well, they
by
made
PJ
some sort of
Media.
Release. It was posted maybe around the campus or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't
right?
a press release. It was just statements to their students, so publicly available still.
Right. And they're basically saying, if you are a man and you are masculine, you've got a problem. You need to be our kind of masculine. Come on down to the clinic. We'll help you be less masculine or more like the masculine that we define as masculine, we at the college.
Yes.
That's kind of my understanding of what they've been saying here so far. You said there's a little bit more to share, and then we're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts. So go ahead.
Yeah, so then they had just said that they wanted to treat masculinity at the mental health center because it can cause men to lash out. And then the article says there is no evidence that masculinity itself contributes to violence. Universities that run similar programs, such as UNC Chapel Hill and Northwestern, have admitted that their programming isn't supported by any evidence. No, these are universities that can create evidence, but they can't come up with any. So basically,
these are just the kinds of men they want to create. They want to see.
So with the heavy insinuation that masculinity will make you violent, which is not the case, because if it was, then 50% of the population would be violent, and it's not.
There's plenty of women who beat men.
Yeah, they just don't get reported.
That's
usually.
Right.
Some of them do, but they usually don't. So those numbers are going to be...
Right, because men don't want to, generally, it's not seen as masculine to report a woman who is
It's not
abusive.
masculine to take a woman to jail for domestic violence either.
Yeah.
And you have to look at that when it comes to policing too.
Yeah, so they want to treat it like a mental health illness because they say it causes violence, but they have no evidence that it causes violence. And
that it causes any more violence than femininity. right? Because like you said, there's plenty of women who are violent within their relationships as well. They just don't get the statistics on them because they're not having the cops called about them.
I've seen statistics that it's very close to 50-50.
Wouldn't surprise me.
As to who initiates violence in the home.
It makes sense that unstable people get in relationships with unstable people, and a thing that unstable people can do is beat their partner. So,
and I would say that it's pretty clear that men are more built for the violence. So if they initiate or even defend, they're more likely to be successful. So that's the thing. In that circumstance, as a man, you really don't want to be successful even in defense. You would want to, in my opinion, that's, the violence occurs and you need to give a warning. Hey, this can never happen again.
Yeah.
And then if the violence occurs again, I think I'm pretty generous on this, then you go away for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving way too much enabling here.
Well, and then if it happens again, then you just cut it off. Like you showed that I'm willing to.
3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah, and then on the third one, and if you wanted to give a 4th strike and go away for a week or 2 weeks, then I suppose you could. But you need to show that this has consequences, and so that's my mind.
And you're very liable to end up in jail if you have a female partner who's physically abusing you. So just for that reason, you should probably just leave at that second.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but people tend to want to stay in the relationships that they're in.
Sure, it's convenient.
They,
So this is kind of a harm reduction strategy, not an ideal strategy.
That would be So I had a woman who I was in a relationship who struck me in sort of a playing fashion, and I just don't believe that should be done either.
Where did she strike you?
Just kind of like whack on the shoulder.
Okay.
But I believe that can lead to, pretend whacks across the face. And then pretty soon it's okay. And it's not okay.
Yeah.
No,
it's not.
If it's not okay for me, it's
Unless
not
you're into
okay
that.
for you. And I can assure you it is not okay for me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
As a convicted killer, I can't have somebody who thinks that violence is an acceptable problem-solving system in a relationship with me.
Right.
I can't have that because...
even if you weren't a convicted killer, I don't think you'd necessarily want that anyway.
Look, I have to watch out
Right.
really. I have to watch out really, really hard. Somebody dies on my street, whose door are they going to knock on?
Right.
Well,
odds are it was their significant other, but yes.
I don't care who it was. Look,
doesn't matter who it was.
It doesn't matter who it was. We're talking about cops here and lazy police work.
No doubt.
Okay? And so violence has to be nipped, in my opinion, in the bud. And I consider any kind of, even action that's pretend hitting unacceptable. Just end of story, unacceptable. And by saying that, by nipping it in the bud, nothing occurred in the future. Not to say that it would have. Who knew?
Let's go to Sarah. She's in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, yes. New Mexico, we have the worst hit-and-run fatalities. Last year, we killed 31 pedestrian and bicyclists, and they all ran off, left them bleeding to death. And the year before was 26.
Okay, so any kind of speed limit that would be around where people should be biking should not leave you bleeding to death from being hit by a car at 5, 10, even 25 miles an hour, really.
Sometimes they've got those bike lanes right there on the road, though. I mean, bicyclists.
Well, the thing about it was the year before was 26 people, so it jumped up 46%.
Do you think it's a serial hit and runner? Like one person who just runs over bicycles and
could be,
with the intention of not getting caught?
Well, I think everybody's doing it. Almost everybody.
Everybody's doing it in regards to vehicular homicide.
What's the solution, Sarah?
Well, we were better off with red light cameras and speeding bans.
How is red light camera? First of all, a speeding ban is redundant. It is illegal to speed, by the way. How is a red light camera going to stop people from running into people?
Well, they have like 10 pictures of them, the face shot, the license
No,
plate.
they don't, because it's aimed at where the line for where you're supposed to stop at the red light is, not at where you happen to hit somebody who is riding a bike in the street.
Right. Most of the bicyclists, bicycle accidents that result in death or severe injury are probably not happening when somebody's taking a right turn on red. And if they are, they're just getting, a little bit of... Their bike's probably getting a little effed up. They're probably not dying as a result.
Well, the whole thing is that once there's an accident, it's a very, very sensitive computer, and the sensor goes off anytime there's an accident. So they take like 15 pictures of you.
So you're presuming the accidents are these hit and run accidents always happening in intersections? Did you look that up, or are these just? I mean, if you just go along the side of the road, clip a bicyclist, knock him into a ditch, no red light camera is going to have anything to do with that. I don't know what kind of hit and runs are going on here. What I can tell you is that accidents have increased every time they put red light cameras in.
She doesn't care
in
about
every
that.
place. No, she doesn't. She cares about the pedestrians and the bicyclists.
Right.
Those are special superhumans.
Those lives.
Whereas the babies that are crushed in the backs of cars when people slam on their brakes because these red light cameras cause people to do such a thing, she doesn't give a flying, flipping, a rolling donut
So
about.
you hate babies. Is that what you're saying, Sarah?
So you guys think that more pedestrians getting killed? See, when we had the cameras, we had less pedestrian and less hit and run fatalities.
That is correlation,
if
not
it's
causation.
a wash, then why do you want to spend the extra money? If it's a wash, like if as many people die in these pedestrian accidents as die at these, from stopping sooner from red light cameras, then why do you want to have them and spend the money on them?
Well, the thing is that the death, like you're saying, is just rear-end accidents. The babies don't die. They die from speeders.
They just get severe whiplash.
People die from rear-end accidents. Are you kidding me? Yes, they die from rear-end accidents.
You don't die from speeding. You die from colliding with another object.
Okay, so here's what happens. Here's what happens in these accidents.
Speed
It doesn't
kills.
matter how fast you... I mean, I guess there is a velocity at which you would cease to be a stable, solid object.
You can't reach that in a car.
But you're not doing that in the car.
No. Right.
So
So
until that happens,
what
you're not
happens at
dying
these-
from speeding.
At these red light cameras is the person behind says, ooh, a yellow light, I better speed up. And the person in front says, ooh, a yellow light, I better stop. And kabam! Yes, so absolutely.
If it weren't for all that toxic masculinity, we wouldn't have any car accidents whatsoever. Thanks for the call tonight, Sarah. Out of time for tonight, but we will be back tomorrow, where you can join us online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com. And as always, don't forget to amp the show, ampamp.freetalklive.com. Get some cool perks.
It's toxic masculinity that has you walk across the street without looking both ways.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, April 30th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.28 per ounce.